Now, where did I put it? Here it is. Welcome to the Toolbox, where we discuss the tools we utilize every day. Yours to use or toss. It's up to you. But I hope you enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome back to Tools for the Toolbox. I am Chance Burles, as you know, and I have another outstanding guest for you today. So I'm going to start it off the way I always do with, who are you and what is your military background?
So I am Nate, and my military background is I got in 98, so that's going way back, right?
Back in the day.
Back in my days. It goes further back than that, right? It's funny because every time we talk about the military and we're like, oh, we're going to the range tomorrow, we're going to this, it's always treated as if it's the first time ever we've done it, right? Every day.
You got to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, it's every day is
every time.
So I'll get back to it. So I finished battle school with the Patricias in 99. We were delayed because of the ice storms that ran through Quebec, so that was a great opportunity. Finished with them, went to the 3rd Battalion. Then from the 3rd Battalion, I went to the infantry school, and then I went to... This is where people get to judge me. Okay, this is where I split the vote. Half the audience is one camp, half the... I was 2 RCR for a while, so I was an RCR.
Oh,
but I'll
no,
tell
it's
you
okay.
this.
Yeah.
They are a different regiment since they had me inside them.
All right. That's the way to look at it. I like it.
Right? So, and unfortunately, I was medically released. I was up for promotions, and my medical was expired by 30 days. So they had everything there. I was in the colonel's office, and the career manager, they were all happy, and the clerk's going through, and she's like, actually, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just run down to the base medical center and, take care of this. And I go in, and the doctor, she's a friend of mine. She comes in, she goes, so Nate, and I'm like, yes. She goes, do you like being in the infantry? I'm like, yeah, I like infantry. I shovel and push broom. And she goes, do you like being in the army? Hey, Doc, what's going on? She goes, well, closes the file, puts it down. Now I'm gonna caveat this or move back a second, because there's this one time, a couple years before this, where I went in to see the doctor, and most people can relate to this. And the doctor opens the file, and she's looking at the file, looks at me, looks at the file, looks at me, and at the time I was racing biathlon nationally and everything, and working towards international, and I was fit and healthy, and well, I thought I was. And she looks at it, she goes, "We need to talk about your cholesterol." And I'm like, oh. The sneaky killer, right? Like, oh shit.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like, cholesterol.
That could be something big.
Right? So I'm like, full attention now. You tell me what I need to do right now. And she's like, white. Like, just, it is dangerously high. Like, we need to do something today. And I'm like, okay, what do I gotta do? Like, do I gotta just, like, drink water right now? Do I gotta go flush myself out? Am I on pills? Like, what is it, doc? And she's like, yeah, we need to put you on pills. You need to adjust your stuff right now. We have to go get a heart done and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, but what about my foot? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I came in today to review the x-rays of my foot. Looks at my name.
The wrong Nate.
Closes the file, slides it to the side, okay? And she goes, oh, and pulls out my file, and she goes, oh, the x-rays haven't come back yet. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the x-rays anymore. Do we need to call that guy right now and get them in here? Should I go find him? Like, should I track that guy down? Like, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about me anymore.
Yeah.
That person, can we find them?
Oh.
And she's like, yeah, we'll call them. Okay. So, fast forward to this medical review. Asked, do I like being in the Army? I'm like, yeah. She puts the file down. She goes, yeah. So, the fact that we misdiagnosed your foot injury and your hip and your knee and all this other stuff, you don't meet any of the terms of service anymore. I'm like, even for Air Force? And she's like, even for Air Force. Now, those that are unaware, this is a dig at the Air Force, but it's true. It's very true and factual. Okay? It's the only thing lower than the Air Force. Coast Guard. Right?
Yeah.
But we still love them and we respect them, and only we can make fun of them. So if you're a civilian, you listen to this thinking you can make fun of the Coast Guard, you are wrong. They're our little brother, and only we can pick on them. So I wasn't even good enough for the Air Force, right? And I was like, oh. I'm like, can you fudge this? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay. So I walk back up. I'm not running now. Running's done. Mm-hmm. At that point, the running ended that day. That was the day the running died. Okay. I walk back up to the unit. I go in, and they're like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good to go. And they're like, where's the paperwork? I looked at the clerk. She looked at me, gave me side eye, and I'm like, and she's like, I'll make a call. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So anyways, that was the beginning of the end. Within 7 months, I was out because I wasn't going to sit around. People are like, oh, you can stay in and you can, we'll keep you in uniform. Like, if I can't be with the troops and do the job I'm supposed to be doing that I joined up for, I'm not going to go sit somewhere else in a desk and collect dust and wallow away. Plus, I'm holding up the chain for somebody else who's functional to get promoted. And it did. When I retired, 3 other guys moved up in the line. And I use the term guys generally, but they were male at the time, but generally because you talk to the troops as guys or troops or whatever, whatever. So I opened up those slots. I didn't want to be that guy that's in for 33 years at the same rank, clogging the pipes. Plus, I didn't want to just sit there and do nothing, right? So my military background started in 98, finished in 2013. Peacekeeper, peacemaker, warfighter, those 3 phases during my career. It was a hoot, a lot of fun. I got to teach a lot of courses. I got to influence a lot of royals in a better direction. Send me hate mail all you want, whatever. Okay.
Pushing them towards the sunglasses and the hands in the pockets, right?
And the 3rd Battalion Black Tukes, right?
Nice.
So nice. And the best is, I remember walking around the battalion the first time with the Royals, and I had my thumbs hooked on my belt loops. Okay? So I'm walking around, I'm just kind of like taking everything in. This guy comes in, he's, get your hands out of your pockets. One, he's in PT gear. I don't know who the fuck you are. So I did. I was just like, well, if I ever put them in, I will take them out right away. And I turned and walked away. Who are you? And I'm like, who are you? And I was like, give him the attitude right back to him because I don't know who you are. And as soon as you identify yourself, anyways, that was day 1, and it pretty much stuck that way all the way through. I did have some good times with those guys. Not as much fun as I did with the Patricias. Those boys are the boys, right? Battle school and everything. So
that's what was the issue with your ankle?
So in my foot, there were 7 shattered bones. In 2007, there was only 5 shattered bones.
Oh.
And it was misdiagnosed basically since I was 20 or 21. Yeah, so that whole 10-year thing. So what happens is, as you have chronic pain, it fucks with the receptor. Again, I apologize. I'm talking about baby seals because we're Canadian, right? Food.
Giver. Yep.
Right. So those pain receptors trigger everything in your body, and they're sitting in your head. With me, I thought, because I went in, I'm like, what's wrong with my foot? Again, I used to race biathlon. I was very active, did the MMA, very active dude, right? They told me it was gout. I was like, it's not fucking gout. They tested for gout. They're like, oh, no, we're wrong. We don't have gout. So as a private, nobody gave a fuck. As a corporal, nobody gave a fuck. As a mass corporal, nobody gave a fuck. As a sergeant, they're like, well, we will care if you care. As a warrant, they're like, oh, well, what do you need? Right? So when I went in and got x-rayed, I was teaching a course and the thing just swelled right up like a watermelon. I'm like, x-ray this shit right now. They x-rayed it. They're like, oh, well, you got some shrapnel in your foot. Do you want to talk? I'm like, is the shrapnel where the pain is? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay. No one ever signed off on that x-ray. It went into my file, never got reviewed, and was left there. So I kept going back in saying, what's going on with this? Like, I'm doing the PT, but they're telling me it's gout, it's plantar fasciitis, it's this. Nothing is helping. And every step, it's like Sting says, every breath you take, it's like that Lego. Take a piece of Lego, tape it to the bottom of your foot, and every time you step, running, walking, anything, the only thing that didn't bother it much was when I was skiing, because it's a flat sole shoe and you're just doing this, right? You're just doing that. Well, skiing for me was pain-free. That's why I spent most of my time on skis when I wasn't at work, because it didn't hurt. But the pain receptors in your head keep getting into that pain state, that fight or flight. But you can't do anything about it because you physically cannot run away from the pain. So it gets to the point where you're just like, I'm a piece of shit. That's all it is. What's really wrong with me is I'm weak. I'm trash. I'm not trying hard enough. I am just garbage. And that's what it became. It became that state where I was the problem. It wasn't the medical system. It wasn't my chain of command. It wasn't what I was doing at work. It was me. So that started to affect my home life, where I was allowing myself to get bullied in situations and stuff because my self-worth was traumatically being affected by this pain. I get to a point where I was so distraught, where I was like, you know what, I'm crap. I can't even do anything. So I start pushing more and more, trying to do more and more projects to prove and validate that I'm not garbage, you know?
Yep.
It affected my relationship with my kids, because dad is now this dude that just wants to destroy the world and to validate, even though I didn't have to, because there was something physically wrong with me and it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
So that was very disheartening, because I was trying to be Superman to compensate for something that was wrong, that I thought was wrong with me, that was my spirit, that was my will and drive and everything. And that really affected my relationship with my kids, because they became hypersensitive. Like, not that there's no fun. I did not abuse my kids. I will destroy anybody that hurts their kid in front of me. That's just, don't fucking do it. So with my own kids, I was trying to not push them, but guide them to be better in what they were doing. And I raised them to be Renaissance men, so they could be good at everything and not have to rely on one thing. Because me, all I had was the Army. At the end of the day, that's where my money came from. But I wasn't good enough. I was this piece of trash, malingular, that was, had this, I'm like, this is in my head. I'm making this shit up, right? I'm a hypochondriac. So I'd push and push and push and push and push and compensate so much that I burned myself out. Had I realized what was going on and taken that pause, and that's what I didn't do, is I didn't pause and say, okay, hold on. This can't just be me. There's got to be something else, right?
Yeah.
And had I done that and been firmer with the medical community and been like, no, I need a specialist now. You trauma surgeons need to fuck right off. Now, apologize if you're a medic and you're listening to this. I appreciate most of you guys so much, and I've worked with so many of you. But when it comes to MIR time, the military examination rooms, inspection rooms or whatever, and you've got these little untrained corporals that are taking their little notes and shit, fuck off. Pay attention. Sepacol is not for above the body, and chapstick and foot powder for below the waist. Listen to some of the guys, right? Do your due diligence. Don't write us off, because I went 10 years on this injury and beat the shit out of myself. I had to go to therapy and counseling, and they're like, well, change your mind, change your mood, and da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm building up this. Here's what actually happened. Because I thought I was crap, because I thought I was the spiritual problem, it did give me one thing out of it. I have more willpower, and I'll touch on this as we go, more willpower than the common man, for sure. Okay? I'm not saying I'm fucking Green Lantern or, Batman or whatever. I'll give them a run for their money. But that intestinal fortitude to push forward and to keep going, and this is why I'm going to say it, because the things that have happened to me during my career, after my career, and those two phases, I've seen so many people, as my friend JP says, cash out. Yep. And I like that term, because you have ownership. You don't have to cash in. You can keep fucking going. And that is the one thing that I take as a positive from that negative situation, is that I have this propensity and intensity to keep going. And I was talking to my oldest son there, and there's a whole bunch of unfortunate shit that happened, and good things and bad things with life. And he said the one thing, Chance, that I gave him and his brother, is that I showed him that no matter how knocked down you get, you can get the fuck back up. So without getting all teary-eyed, because it's, I've got allergies and shit, to know that through everything that I went through, that's the one thing that I've instilled in them for sure, that 100% he's acknowledged me to provide him. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. If that's the one thing you can teach your next generation, your legacy, seriously, I don't care how many times you get knocked down, you can get up. There's so many friends that we have lost that I would like to just grab them and say, you idiot, right?
Yeah.
So, my military background was that. Got medically released. I did teach a lot of courses. I have the record for a few different things. I think most pyro thrown on a patrol.
That's a good one.
It actually came down.
That's a good one.
The ammo guys were like, Nate, you're amazing. You're amazing, Nate. We just can't sign anything out to you. I remember going on one patrol, and anybody that knows this guy will appreciate this. Terry Snook. Terry Snook and I, he's a Royal. We taught together for 2 years at the Infantry school. His patrol was coming up one side of the hill. Our patrol was coming up the other side of the hill. I made our guys leave an hour early, so we got to the top of the hill, finished the patrol, did it all. His patrol starts coming up. I had 100 paraflares on me. Yes. All you hear is Terry yell out after the fifth one, I know that's you, Nate. Fuck off. Okay, troops, pretend it's daytime. So then we went silent for a little bit. And then they're stumbling around in the dark. And then we just lit up the sky. Just lit up. So, yeah.
That is outstanding.
My career, I got to work with a lot of great people. Being in the 3rd Battalion was fantastic. It was right when the Airborne was being shut down. The 3rd was just being stood up. It was funny because the guys that hadn't deployed at that time, those guys that were only in for their 3-year contracts, because this is your first contract back then was 3 years, there was a lot of attitude from them because they'd been on a couple exercises and shit like that. But then as we started to ramp up into the not peacekeeper, but the peacemaker role, and the RUEs are changing and stuff, you could really see that these guys that had been just a year before us were like, oh shit. And we that were just getting in, because my battle school course, we started with 129 in total. Then we got to 74, and then we graduated 29, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like this whole thing, and getting to work with those guys. I'll tell you, the 3rd Battalion, they were CSOR before CSOR stood up. And then you see that it was a breeding ground for the JTF guys and all this. So I got to be around a lot of cool, badass dudes. So I look back and people are like, oh, you a badass, Nate? I'm like, no, but I could point out 50 of you right now. Here, just let me call them up on my Instagram and I'll show you these guys, right? So, it was cool. So that was my military career. A lot of fun, a lot of good times. A lot of great people to work with.
That's just awesome. Like I always, when my wife and I first started talking about having kids, the one thing I said was, I don't care, boy or girl, they're going to learn some very basic things. They're going to learn how to fight. They're going to learn how to shoot. They're going to learn how to hunt. They're going to learn how to, they should be able to take care of themselves.
Yes.
In a very broad scope. And then I can push them out to the world and be like, cool. After that, after my second son was born, I was like, okay, you know what? My goal is to turn these guys into good men.
Yes.
And that's it. Like, my view of what a good man is, that's what I want to turn out. And when I was struggling with doing advocacy work and doing podcasts and like sharing my own stories and my own struggles, my own difficulties, my wife pointed out that this is a video record of what my boys get to see every day is me continually trying and struggling and failing and getting back up and doing it again and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it's being able to teach your kids that one thing, as you said, just that you can just keep going.
Yeah.
You can stop, you can pause, you can look around, you can pivot, you can do whatever you need to do, but just keep getting up. And eventually you'll get where you need to go. I think that's just such a great point, and I wanted to really hammer down on it.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is, like, I don't blame anybody for my choices or my actions.
Yep.
And when we talk about good men, this is something that I've noticed in watching the trends. Testosterone in men today, 22-year-old men, is lower than it was 20 years ago. Okay? They have the same level of testosterone on a general scale as a 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
Okay? So then we take another look at it. To actually call yourself a harmless man, you have to be capable of great destruction and danger and damage, right? So it's like saying that paperclip is harmless. Well, yeah, it's sitting there. It's not going to do anything. But I pick it up, I can do something with it. But it's harmless. So when people are like, oh, you're such a, I'm a badass, I'm a harmless dude. Okay, you can't do that. When I raised my boys, I tried to instill in them that it's okay to be angry. It's what you do with that anger. It's how you control that monster, right? You have to be able to recognize if you're a monster or a sheep. And if you do recognize that you're a monster, then you learn how to control that shit. Because I'll tell you right now, and this is what's so messed up without getting all political or anything, just in general of human nature, the world needs monsters with self-control. You did it. I play Call of Duty, so I pretend to do it. We have to be capable of great things, of positive and negative, before we can actually say that we found our true self. So it's great that you're raising your sons that way in this climate now, because if you don't try to instill that spirit into your children, they're going to become that sheep, that one, like you said, you want them to be able to rely on themselves in any situation. I have friends that, yes, I do have friends occasionally, okay, that are raising their kids to conform to whatever's going on. And it's like, no, that's not how human nature is supposed to be. We're not supposed to conform. We're supposed to ask questions. Ask the questions. Ask the why. Figure it out. Because that's going to be better for your mental health as well. Can you imagine if I had asked the why my foot hurt more and pushed that? I might still be in. Heck,
You'd probably be Sergeant Major's chief by now. Be running around telling people what to do. Get your hands out of your pockets while you got them on your belt loops. Yeah, I can see it.
Get your hands out of your pockets and hook them like this. Yeah, I would have been that guy. I actually was that guy. I would correct them to, well, if you're going to do this, right? Anyways.
Oh, yeah. No, you know, the best part about that, like, I was having a discussion with some guys at jiu-jitsu the other day, and we were saying, how much we love it being there and being able to roll and being able to really test ourselves against each other in a controlled environment. But at a high level, because you're really pushing yourself, right? I wish I could have found that when I was a child.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking about my two boys who are both in jiu-jitsu right now, and my youngest started at 4, and my oldest started at 5. So those guys are going to be friggin' monsters, as you say.
Destroyers.
Even if they don't keep it up when they're when they're adults, they're going to be senior belts when they get out, when they stop doing it. So. And they'll just keep those skills forever. But the way they love it so much, I doubt that they're going to stop at any point in time.
Also, the discipline that they're learning. Discipline, it doesn't mean to, punish. It means to guide and move forward. So the two words that are so bastardized, and this is for your toolbox, is discipline and aggression. You know? People used to say that I was aggressive. And I'm like, you're right, I am aggressive. Aggressive means to move forward momentum. Okay? That's the first line of aggressiveness, okay, is forward movement. Discipline, the first thing is to learn and control self, right? Not to, go stand in the corner because you flicked boogers at your little brother or whatever, or, you pissed in your brother's rubber boot because he pissed you off this morning. other stories from my boys' development. You have to take those two words very honestly, and this is the tools that we talked about. And I know I probably got you all over your list of.
I'm good.
Okay,
we're good, man.
The two tools that I tried to stick with, and I look back and there's some times I'm like, oh, I wasn't really disciplined, but I look at it now with fresher eyes at that trauma and time. I stopped going to the gym. I kind of went into this at one point hard target kind of shell where I was just getting through things, right? Because there's some really traumatic bullshit going on, and I just hardened the shell. I didn't go to the gym as much, but I was still maintaining those basic things and functionalities. Had I been a little bit more strict with my discipline and aggressiveness, I would have kept going to the gym more than this. I got up to 320 pounds at one time. I was, one doctor came in and was like, well, you're grossly out of shape. And I'm like, and you're a dick. I like you. Let's work together. And that was kind of the catalyst that started a certain momentum. I was like, shit, what kind of example? And that's where I question myself, what kind of example am I leaving for my sons?
Yeah.
And that's where I want to touch on, and I've talked about this before other places, is what kind of legacy do you want to leave? That's a question you have to ask yourself every day. I don't care what the fuck you're struggling with. Ask yourself, what is the legacy I want? Because when you cash out, when you decide, fuck it, I'm done, that legacy you're leaving is, well, I quit and I'm going to leave everybody else to pick up my fucking mess. As soldiers, you know, we're taught, even in basic training, okay? Basic training doesn't make you a soldier. It just makes you basically train for whatever trade you're going to. Okay, so not going to piss any bro vets off.
Yep, I hear you.
So you're taught to take responsibility for your shit. No matter how painful, no matter what the consequence, you take responsibility for it. I remember taking responsibility for other people's fuck ups just to get it done, move on, whatever, right? So at that point, you should be able to reach out to somebody and say, man, I'm fucked up. I need to bounce this off. Don't, because embarrassment's not going to kill you. You're going to be embarrassed, whatever, okay, you know, whatever. Shitting in a sandbag in the middle of the desert facing 5 other guys. Okay? Eating a box of Nanaimo bars because of a challenge while you're teaching a course, and then you have to run through the lake and cut your underpants off because you just shit yourself. Okay? It's not the end of the world. Embarrassed because you're struggling financially. It happens. The fucking economy is shit. You know? Veterans Affairs doesn't always get the chance to help us the right way. Whatever. It's not the end of the fucking world. Okay? I went through something so fucking horrific that I literally had 2 choices. Go face it or fuck off.
Yep.
And I was at that point. I'm not going to lie. I literally faced that point where I was like, my life didn't flash before my eyes. My son's life flashed before my eyes. My legacy that I was going to leave is where my mind went. And that's what pulled me back. And I was like, no, fuck this. I'm going to face this head on because I am a fucking man. Not because I have a penis, but because I'm me. Okay. I'm a human being. I'm an adult. I am a warrior. This is bullshit that I'm facing, but I'm going to face it. And I'm not scared of, fuck no. Would I have rather been overseas being shot at? Absolutely. But I'm still going to face this horrific bullshit. And I'm going to do it on my terms, and I'm going to face it as a warrior. Okay?
Absolutely.
And that was what pulled me back, was what legacy am I going to leave? So after that moment, when it was cleared up, that's the route I started going. Everything I do in my day is, what kind of legacy am I leaving behind? What example am I setting for my friends, my kids? And here's where I want to turn that into a thing is, you don't know what people's perception of you are. And I was humbled. I've been humbled a lot this year. It's been a very humbling experience for me. I've had people reach out to me that were like, dude, how you doing? I'm like, I'm great. How are you doing? Whatever. And they're like, yeah, just checking in with you. You know, it's so good to talk to you. And I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, when did you get injured? And I'm like, oh, pretty much when we did this or that time period. And they're like, holy shit. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, you used to kick our asses on PT. You used to run us into the ground. You used to do this. You used to do this. And I'm like, well, I didn't see it that way. And they're like, dude, we all thought you were on crystal meth all the time. which I wasn't because, I was raising 4 kids and I didn't have money for it unless I was making it myself. Breaking Bad hadn't come out, so I didn't even know how to make it. Right?
Yeah.
Not that I've seen the show. But I was humbled because these guys that I looked up to were actually telling me that they looked up to me. I don't, again, the allergies are kicking in. I don't care who the fuck you are. When you have the people that you look up to and you roll with every day for so long and you're kind of using as your benchmark to see how you are, turn and tell you that they were struggling and trying to keep up with you.
Yep.
Dude, I would never have known that if I had cashed out. I wouldn't know that. I would not have had the opportunities this year that have been so unbelievably positive and rewarding. I got to stand in front of the Rocky statue and flex with my oldest son. Okay?
That's awesome.
He did the whole Rocky route, the run from where they filmed the whole thing and did the Rocky run. He shows up. He's like, okay, let's do this. We walk to the front of the line, pull off our shirts and our tank tops are on and we're just flexing and people are like, do you want us to take pictures for you? And we're like, are you using your camera or our camera? I'm not going to lie. We were 2 jacked, buff-looking dudes. But I got to do that. I got to do that with my oldest son. 5-6 years ago when I had that moment, I'm glad I didn't. Because now I've added to that legacy and that moment with my son is forever. Right?
Yep.
And it was worth the bullshit I had to go through to get to it.
Absolutely.
So...
And I think that we fall into a trap, especially in the military, because we're so used to seeing large-scale objectives be completed, as a team, right? So if you have to take an objective, the section moves forward, blah, 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 you do all your stuff. At the end of it, you consolidate, and everyone's like, fucking sweet, that was a wicked run. Awesome. Everybody good to go back home, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we look at smaller successes as useless. Right? Like if you come up to assault this position and it's covered by a bunkered machine gun, you run up against that wall and you're like, well, nope, that's not happening. And then you come back and stop and now you got to figure out a different way to do it. But just that is forward movement, right? Beforehand, before you got to the objective, you didn't know the machine gun was there. Now you do. Okay, now you can make a plan. Now you can go a different way. But even that small little piece of information is forward movement. Yeah. Right, you have more knowledge now, and then you can build on it and move forward. And unfortunately, I think within the military world, we don't express that enough. That is actually important to recognize that you now have more information, or you now have a new skill, or you now have a new something, instead of the objectives over there. Get to fucking work, yeah. Right? Like that's important, but you still need to tell people that if you do a recce and you get compromised 15 minutes in, well, the enemy has patrols out.
Still learn something valuable.
Right, but now you learn something, right? Bang. And I always try to tell people, forward movement is still forward movement. If you want this grand dream, whatever it is you want, there's going to be baby steps. There's going to be huge leaps. There's going to be new interactions. There's going to be all of a sudden the economy is going to explode, right? And you're like, well, now what? Readjust. Figure out what you need to do.
Readjust. Take that pause and readjust. And that's I've had failed businesses. I've had things that just looked good and started doing them and they fell apart. I've had things that have continually grown and gotten better. The one thing to echo off what you're saying, that forward movement, is you hit that wall, it's not a dead end. It's not the end. It's just you've learned everything to that, and now you can take that skill set and apply it to the next side that you're going to. It's really funny because, like you said, we do this as a big scale, and then we spend days doing AARs and patting everybody on the back and everything. And those used to drive me nuts because I'm like, okay, that's just one done. Can we do more? Can we do more? And that's the way we have to look at it, is we have to say to ourselves, okay, this is all I've done for today. This is all I'm capable of doing for today. Reflect upon it. Trying to build a website with my son. My TBI sometimes does TBI shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And his patience with me got tested a lot. Okay. And I'd be feeling bad that he was getting upset. And I was like, okay, let me explain to you. This is, all I can do today. But tomorrow I'm going to pick up right where I left off. And there's nothing wrong with that. One of your questions that you sent me was about transitioning. Yep. And this is really the tricky part, is I got out. You get this elation of I'm free. Nobody can tell me what to do. I actually quit one of my first jobs because the boss was a prick. And I walked up to him. I was like, yeah, I'm going to quit. And he's like, you can't quit. And I said, brah, yes, I can. I'm out of here. And so I had that funny elation. And you're just like that. And then my boys want to do some pellet gun shooting. Weirdest moment. I've been shooting since I was a kid.
Yep.
Military, everything. I was on CISM rifle team development, biathlon, all this stuff. Urban ops stuff, like guns. I picked up a BB gun. Little tiny BB gun. Sweats. I'm like, what is happening here? This is ridiculous. And in my head, it's like, no, you're a civvy. You don't deserve to touch these anymore. You're a piece of crap who couldn't hang. And this again, when I was still figuring out the stuff, and I still had the pain receptors in my foot.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So you're not worthy of this. This is what Mjolnir is, to use my ethnic background. This is Mjolnir. You can't touch this. You're unworthy.
You're not worthy. Yeah.
You're not worthy of this. And I was like, it screwed me up. A few months later, they take the bones out of my foot. And the doctor's sitting there afterwards, and she's running her thumbs up. And when you got to below the big toe, where the sesamoid was, because that's where all the shattering started, was the sesamoid, the little bone there. Normally, if you push that, I would shoot off and I'd be ready to punch you because it put me onto a 10 on the pain scale.
Yep.
Normally, I'm rocking an 8 or a 9 when I'm walking, but as soon as I hit that 10, you just, So she's going up my foot, and she gets that spot, and she's like, how's that feel? And I'm like, is it supposed to be numb? And she's like, no, there should be numbness. Like, do you feel any pain? I wept openly, uncontrollably for 10 minutes. The only time I've cried so much is when my dog passed away last year. Yeah. I wept because I was 100% validated right there that it was not in my head, and that the shithead chain of command that I had towards the end of my career, there's a few guys that were shit.
Yep.
That would run from me in the mess. Weird, right? Anyways, weird. Enough bolstering. But when that was validated that it wasn't me, that there was actually something wrong with me, my transition, all that willpower I had, all that tenacity, all that ferocity that had been in me to get to that was now being unleashed towards Veterans Affairs.
Yep.
And I had a lady... so I'm trained third-party neutral, mediation, negotiation, all that stuff, right? I have the toilet paper roll of certificates.
Yep.
Because that's all it's good for. So she was like, okay, we send you back to school, or do you want your own business or whatever? And I'm like, I want my own business. I had a couple guys that wanted me to do mediation with them because apparently I can talk. And she's like, okay, well, give me your business plan. So I gave her my business plan. And I was fired up. Like, this is what I'm going to do, right? So I give her the business plan. She comes back a couple weeks later and she goes, yeah, so I've talked to some people. This is not a valid business plan. You need to go get a law degree, or you need this or this. And I'm like, no, I don't. You only need a law degree if you're actually handling the contracts, or you're just negotiating with both lawyers on either side. And she's like, no, that's wrong. It's wrong. I'm like, who did you talk to? She's like, well, I went to everybody in the area that has a negotiation mediation business and asked them to review it.
So she went to your competition.
Thank you. Right? And of course, they're going to look at this awesome gem because I have more qualifications than they do.
Yep.
And they're going to go, oh shit, we don't want this in our ecosystem. This is trash. So she destroyed my business before it even started. And she was supposed to be the specialist.
Yeah.
So I got her fired and removed. And I used that ferocity, and I started helping other veterans. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this system. You need help, you come see me, and I'm going to guide you through so this doesn't happen to anybody else. And that was my transition for a while.
Man.
Then it kind of, some other things happened, and I just kind of pulled back from everything and my self-worth because of that one moment where I had to face two different things. And I was burnt out. So I stopped, and I stopped pursuing, and I was like, I'm done. I'm tired. And I got fat. I became, this is what's really funny, because I think Marvel based Fat Thor off of me, because I was sitting there. There's a picture of me and my two dogs.
I can see it.
Chest carrier on, and I had chocolate bars in it, and I'm playing Call of Duty, and I'm just like, this is my life, people. You know, that silent cry for help. The dogs are wearing their sunglasses and helmets, and they're like, oh yeah, this is life. And I'm like, so a friend of mine saw that, and a week later he showed up at my house. He's like, Nate, I got my gun license. We're gonna go do stuff. And I'm like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, you're gonna teach me how to shoot guns. And he's a civvy, right? So he's like, we're gonna do gun stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I renewed all my licenses, got everything again, started teaching. We started traveling. I did some work for a couple YouTube channels and stuff, and just started getting going into it. I went down. I built my own media company because I'm like, oh, this gun stuff. Let's get into this. Let's talk about this shit. You know, I'm small arms qualified. I know, you know, small arms, right? Like, let's do this. You know, those quintessential jokes. And I'm like, yeah. So then I started losing weight. I started competing in the tactical games down in the States because my friend Tim owned them at the time. So I was competing in those. Dude, even at 310 pounds, you can look it up. I beat a couple people. And some of these guys were a little annoyed that the fat Canadian was beating them, okay?
Why is this bear here? Yeah, how is he shooting so good?
The first competition I did was in Texas, and it was 32 degrees our temperature, and whatever American temperature is. They were all wearing polar fleeces and long sleeves and shit. I'm trying to run around in a t-shirt and 511 pants and a vest. I come crossing the finish line, and I'm huffing and puffing, and my gut, like, there's a picture I'll just send you. My gut is like, I can't even see my penis, right? That was a warning sign right there. So like, just, you see this thing, and I'm ahead of people. I cross the finish line. I'm pulling, huffing and puffing, and trying to pull all this plate carrier off. And they're like, you okay? You having a heart attack? I'm like, I'm from Canada. We have snow. And they're like, oh, okay. He's fine.
Get him some water. He'll be okay.
He's just fine. So
that's awesome.
I did that, and now I run my own instruction company, and I also do, one fun thing is when Best Buy purchased Future Shop, I did their team building weekend with them for their managers and their employees. Yeah, for the Atlantic area. So that's what I started to go with. And here's the thing about the transition. Don't go with what you think is going to be cool. Go with what you think is going to fulfill your day, that you can still pause it and be like, this is over here. I'm going to come back to it. It doesn't define who I am. It's just something that brings me joy. And once I realized that, I've just been living a lot healthier and happier. You know, guys, my structure, I should have been in that bracket of 5 years out, gaining tons of weight, heart attack. Thanks for coming out, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's, you know, it's a great perspective too, to be able to understand your history and to really learn from it.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times we remember, you know, and this is the other, I've talked to a bunch of other dudes about this too. And, you know, we always think about being back overseas with the boys and doing the stuff and being the gunfighter and blah, blah, blah. But we forget about the, 50-degree heat, wearing 200 pounds worth of gear, sweating your fucking balls off so that your jacket, the tunic, we used to be able to stand them up like they would dry, right? And you just stand them there and you're like, that's disgusting.
The Arctic and the desert.
Let's put it back on.
Yeah, the Arctic and the desert, same thing. It's frozen stiff in the Arctic, and it's just salt. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I liken it to land nav. And I was talking with somebody else about this too, because when you're navving and you're looking at landmarks and you look at your map and you're like, okay, well, that mountain should be this mountain. That means it's this distance away. And we're going to, okay, there's that. And there's the blah, blah, blah. You start navigating with your landmarks. And then you actually start walking, right? And that walk, it might be 600 meters on your map, and it shouldn't take you that long to walk 600 meters. But when you're walking through underbrush and fucking swamps and like I did all my training in Gagetown, right? Like it's just swamp. That's all it is.
Sides of fucking hills too.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember at one point we were, this is a side story, but we were out on training. It was raining, like heavily raining, one of those like downpours. And I had just come back from the trenches, So I switched gear, because we were going to go to a class. So I got all my dry stuff on, my Gore-Tex socks, and I was like, I'm good to go. Had my stuff on. I was nice and dry. We start walking, and I stepped maybe, I don't know, a quarter inch off the path or something like that we were walking along, and I dropped into this puddle. And I'm 6'6", right? So I'm a big dude. I went straight in to about mid-thigh on one leg, and then my backpack started and luckily enough, someone grabbed me. And so, but now they pulled me out. I have one soaked leg. One boot is full of water. My Gore-Tex sock is full of water. So I'm just continuing this walk in the rain of 75% dry, 25% soaked. Just made the rest of the day horrible, but that's besides the point. When you're talking about landmarks, that 600-meter walk can be garbage, and it can take fucking way longer than your time estimates ever thought possible. People can get lost. You can fucking drop an NVG somewhere along the way. Lots of things can happen. But the mountain never moves, right? That landmark that you picked,
it's still there.
Still right there. And being able to goal set and then realize that shit happens, but just keep your eye on the mountain, right? Eventually you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Might take 2 hours, might take a year, might take whatever, but just finding that goal. How do you find, from what your experience is, how do you make those goals? How do you keep realizing that the bullshit on the way doesn't matter?
So when I teach on Friday nights for the last year, I was teaching or working with a bunch of guys coaching on the range. And one of them came up to me one time and he's like, you know what, Nate? It's really cool. And he's a civvy guy, older guy, really good dude. And he was talking about how they have a renter that's being a pain in the ass and they're not paying rent and doing this. And he's like, yeah, so my wife was, reading the emails and going to respond to this, this, and this. And I said, no, stop. Just reply to what matters. Cut the shit out. Cut the noise out of the background. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? And I'm kind of grinning a little bit because I'm a professional coach, and when I'm on the range, there's little things that I do and everything. So I'm just kind of, they call me Jester for a reason years ago, because I am a shit disturber and I don't give a fuck about certain things.
What?
Right? It was actually Doyle who gave me that name, rest his soul. So he's talking about the noise. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, when we're shooting and that buzzer goes off, sometimes you're squawking about things, or you're telling stupid dad jokes, or you're making noises. And I'm like, oh yeah? And he goes, yeah. And when I'm shooting and I tune that out and focus on the target, I shoot way better. And I'm like, oh, however do you mean? And he goes, so yeah, I told her not to reply to that shit, but just hit about the rent and how we need her out by this time. And the control of the conversation changed, because now we're not getting into this crap. And they replied back at they were going to be out at this time, blah, blah, blah. And they know that they have screwed up. And I'm like, I don't know why you learned that, but it sounds like a good lesson. So then he went and told the other guys, and they're all talking about it. And I'm like, that's the thing, is your landmark has to be what your focal point is. The shit's going to happen. Like I said, I lost businesses. I had business partners that I shouldn't have been working with. I was in one industry that I knew better than one guy, and they didn't like that. And the that's like losing the MVGs or losing piece of Mission Essential Kit. It's going to happen. When you get to that landmark, you still have to rely on yourself. I don't blame anybody for anything that I lose or gain along the trip, because it's me. And no matter how expensive that lesson is, it's still a lesson to you to get towards your objective. And again, that mountain, if that's where you want to go, you're going to have to sacrifice some stuff like sleep, food, physical energies and things like that. So when you set your landmark, before you set off, really do that pre-patrol assessment. Is this worth, in the civvy world, it's return on investment.
Yeah.
And now that's how you have to think about it. Is this really returning on my investment of time and where I want to be in 5 years? And again, I'm going to come right back to that. Now that you're out of the military, it's your legacy. It's not the military legacy, because unfortunately right now in Canada, the military legacy has got a little kick in the dick. Okay.
Yeah.
If I can paraphrase some bad terms.
I think that's the best way to do it.
right?
That's the best line I've ever heard about what, like, issues within the military leadership right now. It's a tick in the dick. It really is.
It really is a kick in the dick. And just to kind of side that, you get more clout telling people right now that you're NCM or NCO. Nobody cares if you're an officer anymore. That sucks. Okay, so that's bad. So anyways, they need to look at that. So when you look at what your legacy as a civilian is going to be, your military time is over. I see this in the States. I see it in Canada. I work with SF guys, regular guys. And again, guys is a generic term. Okay, even you military police people I still talk to occasionally, right? Is you have to decide what your legacy is going to be. Because nobody, and I'm going to break this to you very gently, outside of a military community, brace yourselves, sit down, put your coffee cups down. No one gives a fuck that you're in the military anymore. Nobody, I know. Nobody on civvy side fucking cares. And that's the sad part.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was years ago where, I was in the military. Oh, that means something. And again, because the current kick in the dick that we're taking, nobody cares. Mm-hmm. We're not fighting a war anymore. We're not trying to save the planet. Nobody cares. So I'm going to look you right in the camera if you're watching some video. Nobody cares, but I still believe in you. And I know you can choose your legacy of what you want to be and what's going to matter to you now. Okay? You have to let go. You have to cut the risers and pull your reserve, because this is what your reserve is meant for, is this time in transition, if I can paraphrase some jump terms.
Yeah, no, that's great. I've talked to a lot of different groups of people, right? I've talked to airborne guys, I've talked to logistics people, I've talked to meatheads, I've talked to, zipper heads, whatever you want to call them. I've talked to a whole bunch of people, right? And the one thing that really links us all is that we all have each other's backs, but once you're out, like, the machine rolls on, right? That's it. And once it's gone, you're left on the wayside going, cool, what do I do now? And if you don't actually look at it and say, what do I want to do now? Yeah. Right? I know lots of guys that got out and they just started working. And, like, no question, they're just like, I got to get a job, I'm going to work this, and blah, blah, blah. And they've worked themselves into either an early grave or total fucking burnout, or, they just made everything. Where some guys, it works. Some it doesn't, right? But it's a real challenge. And again, within the military, we don't do this well enough, I don't think, is that we don't recognize, I guess, Special Forces and SOF does this quite well. Failure breeds success, right? In the Reg Force, we were a no-fail army. Yes. Didn't matter what it was. You couldn't, anytime you fucked up, you were going to hear about it, and it was never a good thing. But in reality, that's how you learn. That's how you get good at things, is you try, you fail, and you fix what was wrong, and then you do it again, and you try and you fail, and so on and so forth. And that concept of failure breeding success is something that we don't see, I think, in the regular army at least.
That was something that I got in shit a lot for when I was teaching at the school, was I would do it okay, you fucked up. It is not the end of the world, because this is training. This is where you're supposed to make mistakes. Oh, am I going to get a PRB? I'm going to stop talking. Start listening. Be water. You screwed up this, and this because you've only been doing it for 3 days. So this, and this is how you do it, right? And I butted heads a lot with people because they would be, no, it's got to be, and we just got to rant and roar in the book of loud and blah, blah. And I'm like, just because that's the way we've always done it doesn't mean it's the way it always has to be. And where I'm going with this is I tried to influence that in the military, and I saw that it wasn't always receptive, but I was teaching officers at the time. So I like to think that I've corrupted the next generation in a positive way, okay, of...
Corrupted and positive don't normally go together, but I like it.
Well, it can be, because it can be a bad system that's corrupted and changed into system. Anyways, I'm dropped out of school in grade 10. What the fuck do I do? Okay?
Yeah.
So you're right. It has to be changed, and that's what I didn't like about AARs is everybody's like, oh yeah, pat on the bum, I was so good. I took this hill and I did this, and it's like, perfect. Where did you fuck up? Where did you make a mistake? When we talk about review, and this is how we have to look at it for ourselves, a self-review, that honesty. How many times have you been on a course where you had to rate everybody on that course with you?
Everyone.
Pretty much. And then you had to so when people would struggle with that, it's like, okay, you don't have proper self-awareness. If you can't do that, well, I don't want to rate I'm sorry. You have to be able to do that. So if you were able to do that in the military with those around you, take a deep breath, strip down naked and stand on your porch and let the world just gaze upon you and all your blemishes, because that's what you have to do, is you have to look at yourself and say, do I really want to go work with somebody else? Do I have to go work with somebody else? Can I do my own thing? Are my injuries something that's going to limit me from doing what I want to do? Here's the thing. I was told when I got out, I would never lift again. I'd be walking with a cane. I had a blue pass for my Jeep or my truck up until last year, and I let it expire. Haven't filled it out again. I can lift a bit. I'm not walking with a cane, and even though it's a degenerative conditions, I'm still living a full, happier lifestyle because I choose to accept my mistakes, my errors, and my injuries and live within them. I know when my day is done, and if I push too far, that I'm going to be fucked up for a few days afterwards or whatever. I knew when I was doing the tactical games, I knew when to push, when to pull back, what pace to set. I didn't break myself. I didn't go stupid crazy. Still beat a couple people. SWAT guys. I'm not pointing fingers, but a couple SWAT.
Not throwing anybody under the bus or anything, but
but there's a bus stop right here, and I'm just pushing my way through. So. And if you don't believe me, you can check out Bullets and Poutine on YouTube. Just one selfless plug, okay?
Right, okay.
It really is. It's about being honest with yourself. And when I had that moment of what kind of legacy do I want, like the emotion's still trapped there. And I'm glad it is, because that was a defining moment in my life. 36 years old going, is this the end or is this the beginning? And that's when I wanted to be the action hero again in my own story instead of a sidekick or a sub story.
Yeah, an NPC, right? You don't want to be an NPC.
Nope.
That non-player character is the way I always say it. And I think the real trick is that we don't. I mean, you're surrounded by alphas, right? Everybody wants to be better. So this is, and I use alphas in a very generic term because I know it's not 100% true, but like when you're in a combat arms, especially, you're surrounded by people that want to be better. I want to be better. And the culture within, as you said, we rate each other all the time. And then we're rated against each other for promotion boards. And we're constantly comparing and this and that and the other thing. And when you get out, none of that matters anymore. Nope. Right. And it's so hard to get your brain out of it. And I figured this out a little while ago, and I started telling people at left, right, and center now, because I just really love the way it sounds, is that the distance does not define the journey, right? And whatever you're doing in your life is your life. And if somebody else, gets out of the army and starts their own business and is really successful, that doesn't define what you're doing.
Nope.
And if you take 10 years to do it, or 20 years to do it, or 50 years to do it, as I was saying earlier, right? Forward movement, it's a forward movement. And how far it takes you to get there, or how long it takes you to get there, or whatever, it doesn't matter. The journey is the important thing. And just being on it, being aware of that journey is so key, in my mind, at least.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. If you're jealous of somebody else, you're not doing your shit. You're not being honest with who you are and what you want to be. I know tons of guys have been super successful. Good for them.
Yeah.
Awesome. Am I jealous of their opportunities? Hell no. They got those opportunities. I'm supportive, because it's still that team of good for you. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, before I end up living on the street in my van, I'm going to go hit you up because you got a really good driveway, So you can't be jealous of anybody else, because you're right. Everybody else's journey is different. And I was thinking about this, and it kind of goes with what you're saying, is we all start a path when we're born. We start walking that path. People come in, they walk alongside us for a little bit, and then their path veers off. But our path, that mountain we're heading towards or whatever, is still their same thing. And then more people come in and veer off, and then more people come off, but we're still walking our path, right? Because it's our path. We'll get married and we'll have spouses and kids and stuff, but it's still our path and journey that we're going. They're just part of it, and then theirs will branch off and, mirror some parts and everything. What you're doing here is amazing, because you are coming at this a different way than most podcasts that will bitch or whatever. And that toolbox is so important because when I got out, I left mine closed for a little bit. I own that. Nobody else does. But when I opened it back up again, it was with a lot more intensity and ferocity, and then blowing some dust off some things, going, oh yeah, I can sharpen this one back up. Oh yeah, this is going to be great. Digging through these things and pulling them out. And that's what you have to remember, is that your toolbox is only stocked with what you know. And if you don't go learn more things, you're missing out, because there's so many good opportunities to have around you that don't fucking cash out, and you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I mean, just the fact that you could meet someone tomorrow that in 5 years becomes the key to the network for the business that you want to build. I had this chat with Corey Hatt from Mad Hatter, and we had a whole conversation on this, and that your bubble, I called it the area of influence because I was playing video games at the time, and it made a lot of sense for me. But you have this bubble around you, right? And how you interact with the world depends on how you're affecting everybody else's life. Even something as small as being in traffic and having that person in front of you cut you off, and you, instead of getting upset and enraged and, you this motherfucker, blah, 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 and honking your horn, flashing your lights, whatever people do, right? Or you just go, yeah, I've been there, and you let him in, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what that person's going through. You don't know, he could have just, maybe he's having a rough day, he didn't notice the exit, now he needs in. Okay, cool, I've been there.
Yeah.
Let him in. Bang. And then that expands into the rest of the day, and his, man, yeah, I was having this really bad day, I was on the highway, and then out of nowhere this guy let me in. I thought I was going to have to cut him off. Like, it just changes their day for the better, and all it takes is a little bit of reflection, right? Just oh yeah, right. And I've said this on a few podcasts in a row now, but I'm going to say it again, is that there's this great movie from, I think it was the late 90s, early 2000s, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. It was just, I really enjoyed the movie. I'm a bit of a cowboy, so anything with horses in it, I'm usually pretty good. But in that movie, they say the colonel, the bad guy, the cavalry guy, he's talking about breaking horses, and he says, time, patience, and discipline are the three great levelers. And I just, like, it has stuck with me since then. It's just those three words, and it is 100% true. If you stay disciplined and are patient, and with enough time, you can get to your mountain. You can do whatever you want to, but you have to have the discipline to stay with it. You have to have the patience to just let things happen, and you have to be able to give it the time it needs to actually work.
Yeah, you can't force it. You cannot force it.
Yeah, and it just, again, the whole reason I got this whole podcast started was the fact that I was looking around, looking for something to, like, what do I do now? Who's going to tell me what to do, right? As a Master Corporal, when I got out, I was looking for instruction. Someone to give me an order.
Adolf, please.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a real challenge when you get out to realize that, it's you. That's it. There's no one else. You can't complain to the sergeant. This is, shit's not happening the way you want to. You have to friggin' just get started.
Yep.
Put one foot in front of the other. Get the patrol going. Figure out what to do next. So we've been rolling for a little bit over an hour here, and I just wanted to say thank you, brother. It has been just an absolutely outstanding conversation. I've loved every minute of this. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to add in there? Last thoughts, anything?
No, it's been a great conversation. I'm sure we could go for another 6 or 7 hours. It's just
probably
it's a great topic, and there's so much information that you can pass on and do. And it's great that you're doing this. And I thank you for doing the show, because it is a level of leadership by doing it and helping others. Because I'm getting tired of it, of, opening messages and finding out somebody's given up or cashed in. Because there's no need of it. We want you to stay the fuck around, right? So,
Yep.
you know, who else is going to laugh at our stupid stories? Because the civvies don't care that we're in the army. They don't care about our stories. They're kind of like grossed out with some of our stories and like, whoa, I don't understand, right? So we need you. We need to keep our numbers bolstered. Just to add on, like, no, I think in Canada we definitely need more unity within the veterans, because we do get pushed aside and we do get kind of forgotten about with the systems and everything, right? So, no, I appreciate what you're doing. It's been my pleasure getting to chat with you. I apparently like to talk, and this is a topic that brings me joy. So I thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure, man. Honestly, I learn something new every time, and I love being able to engage with people because everybody's story is different. And, you know, you heard it through training. I heard it through training. You know, you might not ever need this, but it's another tool in your toolbox, right? And that's where I got the idea from, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to steal that. So I totally did.
It's not stealing it. It's reallocating it with purpose to use.
I like it. Yeah. Smart. I have this, you just reminded me of this whole story, and it's kind of perfect. But, so I was in Meaford. I was an instructor, and I had a warrant who's a royal, and he came up to me and he was like, so, can you do bat sim? And I was like, yeah, I can. Yeah, what do you need? And he's like, I kind of want to blow my troops up. Could you come up with a plan? I'm like, sure, when do you need it? And he's like, whenever, just, it's for the next course, you got a few weeks, like, whatever. And I'm like, I'm not fucking doing anything right now. And so I just went to my computer and drafted this little PowerPoint presentation of, like, troops are going to move through here, charges here, boom, 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 and, like, laid it all out. And I'm like, here you go. And I handed him this, my thumb drive with the plan on it. And he put it, he's just like, you fucking engineers, man. I asked you for, like, a general plan, and you drafted a PowerPoint presentation for the fucking CO, right? It got kiboshed, but he eventually got me out, and he started having me teach on his courses and on his DP1, the battle school courses for the infantry. And I was like, am I, like, allowed? I thought it was just infantry dudes do infantry stuff. Engineers only teach engineers, right? And he goes, I'm a fucking warrant. It takes a general to charge me. And I was like,
right?
All right. Yeah. I'm down.
Yep.
It ended up turning out he wanted me to do a mine lane with those, the IED, the milsim effects things with the baby powder. I killed his entire platoon. It was pretty fantastic. It was awesome. Like I was killing guys that have 2-3 tours in Afghanistan with mines and IEDs, and just to show how it's actually quite simple when you know how to hide stuff and how to develop. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but it was a long course, and I actually had to, like, shut a couple of the lanes down. we couldn't get to them.
There's nobody left.
Yeah, everyone's dead. I don't know what to do now.
Well, the only big brag I have left is, I was in the top 10,000 of Call of Duty Warzone in the world. But, that's again, something to learn from, right? Hand-eye coordination, tactical maneuvering, really good mouse. Ran into my first hacker, ripped my controller in half, and was like,
there you go.
That's $80.
Yeah. Shit.
That's cool. Teaching battle school.
Yeah. I can't remember what my point was about that story.
Oh, sorry.
But no, it's all good. I think I lost my point in the middle of it, but it doesn't really matter. It's a hilarious story.
It's a great story.
If anybody wanted to find you on social media wise, follow you, figure out what you're doing now, how would they do that?
So my website is jesterstactical.net. We had an issue with .com because whatever. Jesterstactical.net is my website, and the best way to get a hold of me is through the Instagram, Jester's Tactical on there. It's a picture of my head with the red hoodie on. That's the best way to get a hold of me. The other platform would be Veterans Transitional Support Reconnaissance Show, VTSR. That's a podcast. Definitely the best ways to get a hold of me is through those three sources.
Wicked. All right. Well, I don't know how many times I'm going to thank you throughout this whole thing, because it's been a lot so far. Again, I really appreciate you being on here. I think there's a lot of tools that people can get out of our conversation here. And, it's been great. Thanks for being on, brother.
No, it's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Chimo. that concludes this episode of The Toolbox. I really appreciate y'all listening. It has been my pleasure bringing you this awesome guest. If you like what you heard, please like, share, subscribe, and do all that awesome stuff. And I hope you can use some of the information that was offered. To all those putting on the line every day, first responders, military, veterans, civil servants, you guys are keeping us safe and keeping the country running. I really appreciate y'all. Hope to see you next time. Till then, stay open, stay humble, and stay focused. Shimo.